Welcome back everyone. This is part 9. On What If Kid Asta Meets Noelle's Mother. I don't own Black Clover or any of the characters in this video. Chapter 14. The Witch Queen stared at her former witch comrade and daughter with a calm expression, yet deep down felt absolute disgust. Evanora, my daughter, the Witch Queen spoke. I see you returned home with your friends. Is that a problem? Evanora questioned with an eyebrow raise. The Witch Queen fully turned to face Evanora. Maybe not to you. The Witch Queen fully turned to face Evanora. But to me, it shows how imperfect you are. For starters, not only did you leave this forest, but you married a man. A witch shouldn't need such but themselves. Evanora clenched her hands, but the Witch Queen continued. Because of this, you are considered a true imperfection. You were perfect before your betrayal, Evanora. You were the witch's forest's ultimate defense against interlopers and traitorous witches that dared to return. That's right, Evanora remarked. I was the perfect defense. I took down full-grown men and women, hence why I received the alias Wicked Witch of the East. But, she narrowed her eyes slightly, I left here not because of you, but because of how you treated your newly created witches. Not just that, but once their magic attribute is revealed, you forget everything about them and want them to become perfect in every way possible. Vigorous training day in and day out, etc. I should know, because I was put through it for about 10 years. She waved her hand and her sword staff appeared in her right hand. But you know what really pisses me off regarding you? The fact that you put Vanessa into a cage that drained her magic, just so you get her to learn the red thread of fate spell. Evanora slammed her sword staff into the floor, causing her entire body to be imbued with her acid magic, like an aura. That was the last straw for me, mother. The Witch Queen stared at Evanora, slight surprise evident on her face before she recomposed herself. How did you? The Witch Queen began before it hit her like a truck. Oh, I see now. You snuck into the forest without alerting anyone to witness Vanessa in her training. Clever. Training? Evanora snarled. That was absolute torture. And I'm glad Captain Yami managed to bust in here and free her from this hell. Though the Witch Queen did not show it outwardly, she was absolutely livid. But her calm demeanor remained on her facial features. Regardless, Vanessa will return to me soon enough, the Witch Queen continued. Besides, one of the pieces necessary for my ultimate plan is here. Defending the forest with his squad mates, a crystal shard appeared in the middle of the room to reveal Asta fighting off against Diamond and Eye of the Midnight Sun mages. Evanora watched as well, but turned her attention back to her mother. What does that Silver Eagle boy have to do with anything? Evanora questioned. It's what he can't do that matters to me, the Witch Queen responded coolly as the crystal shard vanished from their sights. See? That boy has zero magic power. While that doesn't make him special, it also does. She curved her lips into a smile. Once I get my hands on him, I will no longer need a witch like you to be my ultimate defense. As for why I need Vanessa, simple. She'll become the ultimate defense, while that boy is my ultimate offense. A perfect duo. Evanora's hands clenched even tighter to the point that they began to turn white. Enough, Evanora snapped. Clover and Diamond may despise each other, but there's no way in hell I'll let your plan succeed. You'll be defeated by my hands, and I'll become the new Witch Queen, with my husband Lotus by my side. True, change here will take time, but the witches will eventually begin to change and see that men are valuable and irreplaceable partners once you find your match. Before the Witch Queen could say anything to add on, Evanora waved her right hand from left to right. Acid magic, rotting of all creation. The Witch Queen stared at the acid traveling towards her. Instead of evading entirely, she simply stood there as she raised her right hand and began to move it like a puppeteer would controlling a puppet. Blood magic, puppet's blood, the Witch Queen replied coolly. The acid magic spell Evanora casted petered out, barely touching her dress as Evanora's eyes widened and she cried out in agony as her blood began to flow throughout her body by the Witch Queen. Red marking began to cover her face from the forehead down. The Witch Queen moved her right hand's fingers in a way that caused cracking in Evanora's body, presumably her bones, which caused said witch to cry out in pain even more. Did you actually think I'd allow you to lay a strike on me? The Witch Queen questioned. Never. And once I kill you, I shall get your 3 daughters to kill that disgusting man that turned you into a whore. She chuckles as Evanora's eyes flashed with anger. The one good thing you ever did, besides kill traitorous witches and interlopers for the sake of your homeland, was that you married and had 3 daughters. Daughters with my blood coursing through their veins. If you have had 3 sons instead, then they, like you, would be of no use to me. The Witch Queen then moved her right hand around, thus slamming Evanora into the walls from left to right, then the ceiling, then slammed her into the ground. She then raised her right hand up again, thus forcing Evanora into the air again. Evanora's face was now covered in the red markings. Your own blood shall be your end. A perfectly ironic way to die. The Witch Queen spoke coolly, yet filled with a mocking tone. No, I can't die here. Evanora thought through the agonizing pain. She slowly but surely began to move her right hand. This is extremely risky, but I have no choice. She unleashed another cry, not only filled with pain, but also with determination as she allowed her acid magic aura around her body to be absorbed into her body. And now, for the finishing touch. The Witch Queen spoke as she began to curl her right hand into a fist. Just as she was about to finish, she felt her puppet's blood's hold on Evanora beginning to slip, until eventually, it completely shattered. Evanora landed on the ground. The red marks all over her face began to dissipate. To say that the Witch Queen was surprised would be an understatement. She was outright shocked. The Witch Queen's eyes widened as she stared at her 37-year-old daughter, now a mother of 3 daughters, in utter shock. How? The Witch Queen gasped, still not believing what just happened. My puppet's blood spell was perfect. How come it lost connection with you? Because of my magic disintegrating the connection, Evanora explained, double quotes. As well as my willpower, not only to fight for Diamond Kingdom, but also for my family, my real family. She slammed her sword staff into the ground. Acid magic, pillars of acid. Suddenly, a pillar of acid came up from underneath the Witch Queen and launched her into the air. After said acid pillar vanished, the Witch Queen fell to the ground on her back. The bottom part of her green and black dress burned away by the acid. Despite this, her body didn't receive much damage, aside from the skin on her legs being slightly burnt by the acid. Evanora twirled her sword staff in her hands before pointing it at the downed Witch Queen. Oh, come on now. Don't tell me you're done already, Evanora mocked. The Witch Queen raised her right hand upward and she pointed it at Evanora's chest area. Blood magic, blood fire. The Witch Queen spoke as she began to stand back up. The blood bolts fired out of her right hand's palm towards Evanora. Evanora gaped and called out another spell to counter her mother's acid creation magic. Shield of corrosion. Evanora declared. A shield made of acid appeared in front of her and absorbed the blood bolts. I never took you for one to be defensive like that, the Witch Queen remarked, as she stood up fully. However, her hands began to morph into red, bloody claws. There's an attack for every defense, and a defense for every attack. Her claws now fully formed. Blood creation magic. Consumed claws. The Witch Queen leapt forward and did an uppercut-like slash on Evanora's shield of corrosion from a far enough distance that the shield couldn't harm her, but also close enough to slash right through it. Luckily, the shield took the hit and not Evanora herself. Regardless, the shield melted away. Evanora gaped and dodged a slash from the Witch Queen's bloody claws. The Witch Queen continued to leap towards Evanora in hopes to slash her and wound her badly. I can't keep dodging forever, Evanora thought as she backflipped away from the Witch Queen, who slashed again. She pointed her sword staff at the Witch Queen. Acid magic, acid torrent. A blast of acid came out of Evanora's sword staff and at the Witch Queen. Blood magic, bloody twister. The Witch Queen countered as she thrusted her hands forward and a twister made of blood appeared and went forward and absorbed the acid blast. Evanora ched in response and sidestepped the twister and it hit a wall, causing it to crack away. The Witch Queen just smiled darkly in amusement. Do not underestimate my bloody twister spell, dear daughter of mine, the Witch Queen remarked as she waved her hands again, now no longer consumed by blood, to make the consumed claws spell. Thus the twister headed away from the wall and back towards Evanora from behind. Evanora half-turned, but wasn't fast enough to evade and got consumed by the twister. Cuh! Evanora grunted as the twister soon came to a stop. The Witch Queen watched as Evanora slammed into the ground, creating a large body imprint on the throne room's floor. Now to finish you off, the Witch Queen spoke coldly. You will be no more, and your children will be mine to command. She pointed her right hand at the downed Evanora. Blood magic, blood, acid creation magic, venomous dragon's hydra charge, Evanora declared. At once, 3 heads came out of her sword staff and rushed towards the Witch Queen in 3 different directions. The Witch Queen leapt into the air, but the 3 heads chased after her, giving Evanora enough time to stand back up and ultimately follow her spell towards the Witch Queen. The three heads eventually connected, causing an acidic explosion where the Witch Queen was floating in the air. Evanora flew through it, only to see that the window had shattered. So, Mother was blasted through the window, Evanora thought. She then flew out of the now shattered window. Suddenly, several blood-like wires came flying towards Evanora at fast speed. Evanora gasped, then leapt up and landed on top of them. The Witch Queen already standing on them, her lifeblood scythe in her right hand. Acid creation magic. Sword of decay. Evanora thought as the sword made of acid appeared in her left hand. So you're finally getting serious, Evanora noted as she pointed both of her swords at the Witch Queen. The Witch Queen twirled her scythe before getting into a fighting stance. Evanora followed suit. Yeah. Asta screamed as he sliced through some Diamond Kingdom and Eye of the Midnight Sun mages. Noelle, Courtney, and Nebra helping out. Several of the opposing mages continued to attack them, despite them being defeated one by the team of 4. Not bad, brat. Nebra called out to Asta. I can now see why Mother wanted you to join her squad. Asta glanced over at Nebra as he defeated another group of diamond mages. A grin appeared on his face. Yeah, I know. Asta called to her. Less talking, more fighting. Noelle shouted as she defended Courtney and herself with sea dragons. Lair. Right. Asta and Nebra retorted in unison. Gah. These guys just don't let up. Lily groaned as she put out another fire while defending the frightened witches with Valeria. I know, Valeria remarked. She looked up at the two armies above them duking it out, the Eye of the Midnight Sun and Diamond Kingdom. But for right now, we have to defend the forest at all costs. Meanwhile, Noelle, Courtney, Asta, and Nebra were handling horde after horde of Diamond and Eye of the Midnight Sun mages. Is there no end to them? Nebra growled in frustration as she punched another several with mist magic, erupting propulsion fist, thus sending them flying into the next couple hordes before they crashed into the trees around them. That should be the last of them, Noelle remarked. I think not. The 4 looked up to see 2 shining generals riding on their brooms. One of them was a beautiful, curvaceous-toned woman in her 30s, with brown skin, red eyes and medium-length long black hair. She wears a regal red armor with a long dress and ladylike gloves and adorned with a black fur coat since it is what most 8 shining generals, both old and new generations, wear. That has the symbol of Diamond Kingdom on its back. And the second had red eyes, with black scleras, wearing a black jacket, but not completed because his chest showed. He had a few gemstones in his forehead. Where's your third shining general? Nebra demanded, dealing with a personal issue. The black-haired woman shining general replied, but that doesn't matter too much. The blonde-haired one replied, a full-fledged grin on his face. If you're going to stand in our way, we will knock you down. He turned to his comrade, right Anna? The Blaquette Anna glanced at him and nodded. Right Ladros. She agreed as she turned her attention to Courtney and Noelle. I'll handle these 2. You handle the other 2, Ladros. Ha, of course Anna. Ladros grinned as he turned to face Asta and Nebra. Both Asta and Nebra braced themselves for Ladros's attack. Just like we were doing earlier. Work together, Asta told Nebra. Nebra glanced at Asta and snickered. Then try and keep up, Nebra remarked coolly as she leapt into the air to strike at Ladros. Asta. While he couldn't use magic to launch into the air like that, he did have his anti-magic and his swords to launch attacks. Ladros watched them in amusement as they unleashed their attacks. Am I supposed to be impressed or something? Ladros laughed. Go million laser. Suddenly, several lasers were unleashed from his body and began to strike anything in Ladros's surroundings. Anna had to evade to avoid getting hit by her partner's own spell. Oi, watch where you cast that, Anna called to Ladros. I'd rather not get hurt by your spell if you can't control it. Sorry. Ladros apologized as he evaded Asta and Nebra's attacks. Damn it. I can't absorb their magic, Ladros thought. Even though that Silva has mist magic, my power can't absorb something like that. Asta used a stepping stone from Nebra's mist magic to reach Ladros in the air. Anti-magic. Demon Slayer sword. Critical strike. Asta declared as he swung the Demon Slayer and slashed Ladros diagonally from his right shoulder downward. Despite them being the air, the ground beneath split from the sheer force of Asta's slash to Ladros. Soon after, the 2 began to fall. Damn it all. Ladros cried out as he fell from the sky, with Asta standing on top of him. Anna glanced over at Ladros's battle as she broke one of Courtney's spatial magic spells with her breaker magic. Shit. Anna thought as she watched Ladros fall to the ground. If I had known there'd be a mist magic user here. Then I would have said Ladros to handle these girls while I handled the mist magic user and the anti-magic boy. Ladros, Anna called out to her comrade as he crashed into the cleaved ground. Pay attention to your opponents. Noelle called to her as she fired a sea dragon's water ball at Anna. Anna half-turned and slashed the water ball into two with her longsword. You'll have to try a lot harder than that, Anna remarked coolly as she uses breaker magic. Piercing blast spell to blast through Courtney's spatial magic. Spiteful saint spell. Despite it being a meteor shower of spatial magic orbs, damn it, Courtney thought. Me and Noelle outnumber her, but her breaker magic just busts through our spells like they were paper. At least Noelle has Sea Dragon's lair up to protect us. She gasped as Anna avoided her spatial magic. Wild flash spell and cut through the majority of the mana blasts before Anna stood right in front of the Sea Dragon's lair. Anna cracked her neck, a grin on her face. Let's see how well this defensive spell can defend you too, Anna retorted as she raised her longsword upwards. Breaker magic, charging strike, and breaker magic, piercing blast. A dual casting? Courtney and Noelle thought simultaneously. Anna thrusted forward and destroyed Sea Dragon's lair with piercing blast. Courtney evaded the attack, but soon realized Anna wasn't aiming for her. But Noelle, Courtney cried out to the youngest Silva child. Look out. Noelle gasped upon seeing Anna break her Sea Dragon's lair spell. Sea Dragons. She was about to cast a Sea Dragon's roar to counterattack, but Anna was faster. Thus the shining general pierced through Noelle's chest with her longsword. Noelle coughed up blood as she staggered backwards after Anna removed her longsword from Noelle's chest. Then she crumpled to the ground and on her back as blood spilled out of her chest wound. Her grimoire next to her. Courtney scrambled over to Noelle and began to use her spatial healing magic, Goddess Invigoration spell to heal Noelle. Nebra had casted a mistbinding magic spell on Ladros after Asta defeated him. There, Nebra grinned. That should hold him. Yeah, Asta nodded. Suddenly, he felt Noelle's ki beginning to fade. He turned slightly to see Noelle cough up blood and crumple to the ground after staggering backwards a few feet. Nebra looked at Asta, then back at the scene where her sister had fallen. Asta clenched his hands into tight fists as kindred memories of him and Noelle, growing up and becoming really close friends. He began to walk towards Anna, not even realizing. Anti-magic was spewing out of the swords in his hands and all around him, but most of it was going into his body. His right light green eye slowly began to transform into a slit with a red iris. His hair on the right side of his head began to turn black, as well as a bullhorn growing out of his head. In addition, a black wing sprouted out of his back. I've never seen the brat this angry before. Nebra thought in utter shock. Asta, Courtney whispered as she continued to heal Noelle. 1 down. 3-2. Anna spoke to herself before stopping and turning to face the short, statured, but well-muscle-toned young boy. What the hell is this feeling? Anna thought. It's like his anger has taken hold, but at the same time, not. You'll pay for that, Asta remarked coldly, as he continued to walk towards Anna. Chapter 15. You'll pay for that, Asta remarked coldly as he continued to walk towards Anna. Nebra and Courtney just watched in utter shock. Anna stared at Asta before she chuckled. All right, boy, if it's a fight you want, then it's a fight you'll get. She shot back, getting into position to fight. You'll get. She shot back, getting into position to fight the boy. Asta continued to step towards Anna. He raised up his right arm, which held the demon dweller sword, and thrusted it forward so it pointed directly at Anna. Anti-magic. Black delete. Asta declared as several black spheres fired off the tip of the sword's blade and towards Anna. Anna readied herself as the black spheres of anti-magic raced towards her. You think some little spheres will stop me, boy? Think again. Anna retorted as she raised her longsword up. Breaker magic. Arhat spread shot. Several breaker magic mana beams fired out of her longsword and towards the black spheres. Unfortunately, the mana beams petered out upon contact with the black spheres. Anna grit her teeth in response. That's right. This boy uses the power of anti-magic, Anna thought, so he can cancel or dispel my spells instantly. Getting too close to him could be bad, but if I stay a distance away, his anti-magic won't mean jack shit to me. Anna leapt into the air and fired more Arhat spread shots at Asta. Unfortunately for Anna, Asta too leapt into the air to evade her spell. Damn it, Anna thought as she evaded Asta's slashes. This kid is far stronger than I anticipated. In that case, she smiled. I'll play your game, boy. Come at me. Asta doesn't respond with words. Instead, he just growls and FLIs towards her. Anti-magic. Demon Dweller Sword. Black Judgment. Asta roared, as he began to spin the Demon Dweller Sword and himself around like a twister. Anna flew backwards to stay out of its range, or so she thought. What are you trying to do? Make yourself dizzy? Anna wondered aloud. She heard debris spew up from the air and flew towards her, in addition to black slashes raining down and out from the anti-magic-like twister. Anna evaded the debris with ease, but some of the black slashes cut her cheeks and clothes. She gnashed her teeth to ease the pain or prevent herself from crying out. Like hell, I'll let you continue to do that, Anna remarked as she began to build up breaker magic mana around herself. Breaker magic. Or a burst. An explosive wave of mana exerted off of Anna and slammed into the anti-magic like twister. While her spell didn't dispel it, it made Asta stop. His right red eye narrowed into a slit as he flew towards her at high speed. You hurt Noelle, Asta told her coldly. And so, I'll hurt you beyond belief. Anna grit her teeth as she blocked Asta's sword slashes with her longsword. It eventually became a battle with their blades. Instead of casting spells, the mages on the ground like Lily, Valeria, Dominant, Courtney and Nebra watched the fight of flashing blades in the air. While Courtney continued to heal Noelle, Valeria clenched her hands into light fists, as she used her earth magic to defeat any oncoming Diamond and Ori of the Midnight Sun mages. I'm almost done putting out the fires, Lily called to Valeria. Valeria turned slightly to face Lily. Good, Valeria called back. Once you finish that up, mind helping me out over here with these guys? Sure, Lily called back. Lily went back to putting out the fires, but no matter how many she put out, 2 more appeared. Lily ched in response. The longer I try to put these fires out, the more mana I'm wasting, and the more time Valeria has to defend both of us. I need to get rid of these fires as soon as possible. But how? You have a hidden potential, Lily Aquaria, a voice said in her head. Use it. Lily wondered aloud in slight confusion. Suddenly, the skies above turned dark and thunder began to crackle. The Diamond Kingdom and Eye of the Midnight Sun mages, as well as Courtney, Valeria, Anna, and Nebra looked up in surprise. With Alice, Fana, and Elf Fana, even they were surprised. What is that? Alice gasped. A thunderstorm? Fana wondered aloud. Elf Fana just gasped at the sight. Evanora and the Witch Queen stopped their brawl on the blood wires to witness the sky grow dark. What the hell? Evanora gasped. Why is there a thunderstorm here? The Witch Queen went into deep thought, but kept her guard up in case Evanora tried to attack her. Fascinating. The Witch Queen mused. Fascinating indeed. Back with Lily, Valeria, Nebra, Courtney, Asta, Anna, and the unconscious Ladros and Noelle, the thunder and lightning continued to crackle and flash. As for Lily, for the tiniest second, her normal blue eyes flash orangish gold before returning to normal. Storm magic. Storm pillar, Lily declared without thinking. High winds came down from the storm clouds and blew the Diamond and Eye of the Midnight Sun mages into the air, as well as striking the others with lightning. Of course, the wind and lightning strikes struck around Asta, Anna, Lily, out-cold Noelle and Ladros, as well as Nebra, who was watching. The hell is this? Nebra thought in shock. Whoa, Courtney thought as she continued to heal Noelle. Soon, the storm clouds vanished and a new spell appeared into Lily's grimoire on a new page in orangish gold writing. What the hell? Anna gasped. She quickly had to dodge a slash from Asta's Demon Dweller sword. Quite persistent. Aren't you, boy? Very well. Breaker magic. Pulverizing attack. Anna let her magic's mana charge up in longsword before slashing at Asta. With its might, anti-magic. Black deflect. Asta countered as he raised his right hand up, which was imbued with anti-magic, thus making Anna's spell miss him and it hit a tree behind him instead. He reflected my spell? Anna thought in surprise. Asta then flew towards her at high speed, the Demon Slayer sword in his hands, meaning he put the Demon Dweller sword back in his grimoire. Anti-magic. Demon Slayer sword. Critical strike. Asta growled out. Breaker magic. Charging strike. Anna countered. Soon, the two swords clashed, causing the area around them to explode with debris, going everywhere. Despite Anna having physical and magical strength advantage and pushed Asta back, Asta growled out and flew forward, surprising the older woman as she found herself flying backwards. Impossible. Anna thought, I have the advantage because I have both magical and physical strength, but this kid, does his physical strength outmatch mine? Suddenly, she felt the Demon Slayer sword slash right through clothes covering her chest. Black meteorite, Asta growled. Because of the attack, and felt her mana falter. Soon, she began to fall towards the ground. "Yaa!" Anna cried out as she fell. She then landed in the crater where her and Asta's power had formed. Oh wow. Asta then landed on the ground and began to walk towards her. His eyes showed nothing but anger. Anna looked up at Asta as he approached her. "I still have enough mana left to cast my ultimate spell," Anna grunted as she began to stand up slowly. "Ultimate Breaker Magic, Starstream Breaker Blade." Anna cried out as she raised her right arm up and all of her remaining mana went to the tip of her longsword before firing at the approaching Asta. "Come on, Noelle," Courtney whispered softly. "You can make it through this." "Nang," Noelle groaned. Much to Courtney's relief, "You're alive," Courtney breathed. Noelle looked up at Courtney and scoffed. "Of course I'm alive, dummy," Noelle remarked. "It is thanks to Mother insisting on me doing physical training with Asta and your spatial magic to heal me. Thanks for that." Courtney nodded. "You're welcome," she replied before frowning. "But can you stand? I think Asta is going to need you." "Wah," Noelle began before she heard Anna declare ultimate breaker magic, Starstream Breaker Blade. Noelle stood up instantly, grimoire at the ready. She winced in pain, but ultimately ignored it and screamed at the top of her lungs. "Asta." She was about to go to Asta, but stopped upon seeing Anna's ultimate spell get absorbed by the Demon Dweller sword. Then it was reflected back at her. Despite this, Noelle jogged towards Asta. Anna gasped. "He absorbed, then reflected my ultimate spell." Anna thought in shock, as she used her longsword to redirect her own spell at the last second. Thus it hit the trees next to her and obliterated them. Anna looked over to see Noelle hug Asta to get him to stop. "So, that's the girl the anti-magic boy cares about the most. Asta, please stop," Noelle pleaded as she hugged him. "You don't need to continue to fight her. I'm alright." Noelle felt Asta stop. Then he looked down at her. She then looked back up at her. Noelle felt her skin crawl at the sight of his right eye being red, as well as a slit. Eventually, it returned to normal. "Noelle?" Asta questioned as his black form dissipated. "What happened? One minute you got severely hurt, then the next minute I was fighting her." He points at Anna as he says that. The shining general in question grunted as she slowly walked towards the duo. "I may be out of magic, but I can still fight," Anna retorted. Noelle let go of Asta and the two went into an offensive stance. However, before any of the three could do anything else, mist binding magic, mist, spider threads. Suddenly, a large spider made from mist entrapped Anna with its misty web. Asta and Noelle turned to see Nebra striding towards them. "While you were crazy there for a few moments, brat, you did well against her," Nebra told Asta. Asta felt his lips curve up into a sly grin. "Thanks, Nebra," Asta replied before turning his attention to the defeated Anna. "What do we do with her?" Nebra was about to answer, but Anna began to laugh. Noelle crossed her arms in response. "What's so funny?" Noelle demanded. Anna then stopped laughing. "Look up Clover mages," Anna remarked as she pointed up. Nebra, Courtney, Asta, and Noelle did so. Their eyes widened. "Isn't that?" Courtney began. "The Wicked Witch of the East? Aka? Evanora Chandler Womel?" "Yup," Anna grinned. The personal problem Evanor had to deal with was the Witch Queen herself. "So that's why we can feel the intensity in the sky." Asta, Noelle, Courtney, and Nebra thought, with Alice and Fana. They continued to fight against the hatred-filled elf counterpart of Captain Fana of the Amber Phoenix Squad. Alice leapt forward and punched Elf Fana in the face. Despite her fist hitting Elf Fana's face, Elf Fana didn't flinch as blood trickled out of her face wound. "You think that'll be enough to quell my hatred for you humans?" Elf Fana snarled. "Never. Then you truly are lost." Fana shot back. "If you kill us, you're no better than us." "Silence, worm," Elf Fana snarled. "I'll kill your friend first." Elf Fana then flew towards Alice at high speed with her flame magic surrounding her like an aura. "Now die." "I don't think so," Alice retorted as her eyes began to glow gold. Golden eye binding magic. Paralyzed laser. Two beams of golden eye magic energy fired out of Alice's eyes, but Elf Fana evaded the two beams with ease. "As if you could bind me with such a feeble spell." Elf Fana snarled as thrusted her right fist forward to punch Alice, but Alice did a backflip to evade the flaming punch. Fana leapt forward and casted a flame magic spell as well. Flame creation magic. Phoenix feather shot. Fana declared as she swiped her hand from left to right so several flames the size of feathers appeared around her before launching themselves at Elf Fana. Despite Elf Fana's speed, she got hit by the last few, two hitting each of her shoulders. then 2 others hit her ankles. But because of her aura of flame magic, the wounds weren't as bad as Alice straight up punching her in the face. Damn you humans, Elf Fana growled. Alice was about to launch another golden eye magic spell, but her captain stepped forward. Captain? Alice wondered aloud. We don't have to fight, Fana spoke. I understand your pain and suffering. Her expression then darkened. But killing us will not solve anything. What's your big plan after you massacre all of humanity? I'll tell you. Fana then punched her elf counterpart in the face. Nothing. You have no plan after that. Another punch. This time it made Elf Fana stagger backwards. I understand why you hate us. You elves were killed, but it wasn't by the humans. At least, not purposefully. Captain Asier Silva told me everything about the elves and that they were a peaceful race. However, she punches Elf Fana a 3rd time. I've been through my own pain and suffering. I started to hate my own kind as well for how I was treated back in my home country of Diamond. It's why me, Mars, and a majority of everyone else a part of Master Fanzel's teachings defected from Diamond. Me and Mars only stayed back because we had a job to do. But now, we're free from that slavery and have a new life here in Clover. Captain, Alice whispered, so don't you dare say your suffering takes priority over everyone else's. Fana snapped as she punched her elf counterpart a 4th time, making her stagger back further. Everyone experiences suffering. It's how one deals with it that matters. And I don't think you throwing a temper tantrum is going to help you or anyone. Fan began to calm down after her mini rant, her breaths becoming heavy. During this time, her elf counterpart and Alice had remained silent. Eventually, Elf Fana broke the silence by screaming angrily, "Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up." Elf Fana screamed, "You know nothing of our pain and suffering. Don't act like you do." She soon began to recompose herself, but as she did, the gem on her forehead broke away to reveal a 3rd eye. If I can't kill you humans with my magic, then I'll just self-destruct and blow this entire forest sky high. Fana and Alice's eyes widened. You're going to self-destruct? Alice gasped before she turned to her captain. Captain, we have to get all of the mages out of here. Not yet, Fana shot back. I want to help my elf counterpart. I know she doesn't want to do this. Alice stared at her captain incredulously. You must be joking, Alice retorted, concern evident on her face. If you die, Mars will be sad. I know what I'm doing, Fana shot back. As your captain, I order you to go back and see how the others are doing. Please, Alice. Alice remained silent for several seconds before replying. No, I'm not leaving, Alice retorted, surprising Fana. As your squad mate, we have to have the others back, Alice. Fana felt her lips form a small smile. All right, you can stay. It doesn't matter if she stays or not. Elf Fana growled as the 3rd eye on her forehead began to glow a bright purple. All of you will die. Fana clenched her hands into fists. Her flame magic mana glowed on her fists ever since Morris began his experimentations on the children of Diamond. We've had to fight for survival, Fana thought, not just with our magic, but with our physical strength too. Mars and I were the strongest in both fronts. That's why me and Mars were chosen to be 2 of the 8 shining generals. Fana closed her eyes, allowing herself to feel the mana around her. The pages in her grimoire flipped before stopping and glowing, writing a new spell into it. When Evanora found out about me and Mars getting gems implanted into our foreheads, she destroyed them out of disgust and freed us from such pain. She told us to be ourselves, while as shining generals. The mana continued to condense around her fists, and while we were just that, we weren't truly happy. We wanted to explore the world, not become part of the military because some mad scientist tells you to. She opened her eyes, but then Morris was arrested. After Master Fanzel, Alice, and Mariella escaped Diamond, along with Dominate. Fana strides towards her elf counterpart as Alice watches on. But then, Asta and Noelle, along with a few other squad members from other Clover Kingdom Magic Knight squads, appeared and fought us. Not only that, but Asta and Noelle gave us a second chance. And so Fana punched her elf counterpart in the face again, this time with enough force to send her flying backwards and into a tree. I've become a Clover Kingdom Magic Knight squad captain, and I intend to truly embody what the 3 leaves of the clover stand for. Flame magic. Calidus Brachium, Fana declared. The hell? Both Alice and Elf Fana thought in shock. What kind of a spell was that? Elf. Fana snapped as she recovered from the blow earlier. A punching spell. Fana replied to her elf counterpart's question. Mario Leona Vermilion has this spell, but mine isn't as strong as hers. If she was here instead of me, you would have gone through several trees and shatter them in two due to the force of the punch. Damn you human. Elf Fana snarled as she leapt towards her human counterpart at high speed. The backs of her hands grew fiery talons as she attempted to slash her human counterpart's face. Fana, on the other hand, blocked the strike with her left hand, then using all of her weight, pulled her elf counterpart into the next Calidus Brachium. But this time, hitting the third eye with all the power she could muster. To Alice and Elf Fana's surprise, the third eye began to burn away. No. Stop. Elf Fana cried out as the third eye continued to flash purple, as if getting ready to release its power. Captain, what? Alice gasped. I'm going to set her free. Fana retorted as she continued to punch her elf counterpart with flame magic. Calidus Brachium. No one deserves this type of fate. Gah, stop it. Elf Fana cried out angrily as she tried to land a strike on her human counterpart, but to no avail. Stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it. No. Never, Fana shot back. If you truly hated the humans, you would have self-destructed upon reaching the forest already. It's supposed to be a last resort. Elf Fana gnashed her teeth. But you forced my hand. All I want is the magic stone here. Yeah? Well, so do we Clover Magic Knights. Fana shot back as she continued to punch her elf counterpart's forehead. The third eye continued to melt away as blood trickled down Elf Fana's forehead. As Fana continued to use Calidus Brachium, she glanced at Alice. Once the third eye is gone, use a binding spell. Fana told her squad member. Yes ma'am, Alice retorted. Fana continued to punch her elf counterpart until the third eye melted away entirely. Elf Fana gasped as she felt her human counterpart stop punching her. Thus she staggered backwards. Fana glanced over at Alice. Now Alice, Fana commanded. Right. Golden eye binding magic. Overpower glare. Alice declared as her eyes glowed gold and she glared at Elf Fana, thus freezing her in place. Fana wiped away the sweat on her forehead before giving Alice a thumbs up. Good job. Fana smiled. Alice glanced at Fana and nodded. Thanks, Captain, she replied. Evanora and the Witch Queen continued to clash their weapons on the blood like ropes in the air. Swords to scythe in combat. Not bad. The Witch Queen retorted casually as she parried each sword slash with ease. But regardless, you have a long way to go before you can even hope to beat me. Blood magic. Bloodlust frenzy. So she didn't use it right off the bat. Evanora thought in surprise. That's the spell that enhances your physical abilities. Evanora mused. That's right. The Witch Queen confirmed. And I'll use this newfound strength to beat you, daughter of mine. We'll see about that, mother, Evanora retorted. Yes, we shall, the Witch Queen retorted confidently as she did a set of hand motions. Blood magic, bloody mist, from the other battles happening around or inside the forest. Blood from those who fought rose into the air and began to surround Evanora. Evanora looked around as the Witch Queen became a blurry mess to her eyes. Ack, the hell. Evanora grit her teeth. Thanks to this perfect spell, your senses will become weak, as will your mana sensing, the Witch Queen explained, though Evanora could no longer see her. Now what? Evanora thought in a panic. I have to dispel this mist somehow. Blood magic, blood fire, she heard the Witch Queen say. She tried to block, but her aim was off due to bloody mist and the bullet of blood pierced through her shining general attire and hit her chest. Evanora gasped before letting out an agonizing scream, nearly losing her balance. But as she recovered her balance from the first bullet, several more came her way, each one hitting the marks the Witch Queen wanted to hit on Evanora's body. After each hit, Evanora not only continued to scream, but she felt herself getting weaker, while the Witch Queen was becoming stronger and stronger. This is your end, Evanora Chandler, the Witch Queen spoke coldly to her daughter through the bloody mist spell she had up. Now die with your husband so I can take care of your 3 daughters. While Evanora continued to scream in agony, she felt her hands clench into fists. Thanks to my leaving the witch's forest, not only was free from mother's tyranny, but I fell in love with Lotus Womold. Evanora thought, it was thanks to him, along with my hard work and training in Diamond Kingdom, that allowed me to become stronger. Strong enough to defeat you, mother, for not just my sake, but all the witches that have lived, or are, living here. I'll end your reign of terror, right here, right now. Evanora felt the mana around her increase in intensity. The bloody mist spell began to dissipate. The Witch Queen continued to use blood fire, but she gasped softly upon seeing both of Evanora's swords glow with acid magic. this is. The Witch Queen thought as her bloody mist spell dissipated entirely. No, impossible. Acid magic monozone, double acidic requiem slash. Evanora declared as she leapt at the Witch Queen. Even with bloodless frenzy still in effect, she could not react in time to evade the X slash to her chest. So fast. The Witch Queen thought in shock, as she not only felt her bloodlust frenzy spell dissipate, but she also coughed up blood before falling off the blood-like ropes. Evanora leapt off of them as they disappeared and flew down towards the ground. The Witch Queen landed on the ground on her back, making a crater. Evanora landed on top of her and pointed her sword, staff and sword of decay at the Witch Queen's throat in a scissor formation. Yield, Evanora demanded. End of chapter 15. Link down to the comments if you want to read the rest of the story. I hope you all enjoy. Goodbye.